Alright, what's up? Oh, good. My lovely, lovely audience. Alright, just had to make sure. So, what you're seeing on screen now is basically a new what if that I'm going to do. Now, I know you're thinking, but it's just a normal Izuku. Well, I was lazy. I found this, and it's what I'm going to be using for the thumbnail. Since I don't know how to edit, and I don't know how to make thumbnails, so yeah. I don't claim anything that I show. I'm just saying, they were the easiest thing to find, and I am so lazy that I built a machine to lift weights. I'm just playing. I couldn't do that, even if I tried. Anyway. What we're going to be doing today is, what if Deku was Kirishima's brother? Now, hold on. Before you leave, if you haven't left yet, just give me a second to explain, okay? So, Kirishima is going to have a younger brother. But said younger brother will have said Dormant Quirk. Now, Izuku is going to be exactly 1 year younger than Kirishima. They're not twins. It's just that Izuku and Kirishima's mom was like, oh hey, you know, a husband, another child please. And the husband was like, alright, cool. So Kirishima got a brother. And when he was born, they went and got his quirk tested. Because they already knew what Kirishima's was, and they were like, okay, well, kind of useless, but, you know, it could be useful if he trains it hard enough. And then they realized, when they brought Izuku into the testing area, the doctor said, okay, he does have a very powerful quirk, but it seems that it only will activate in a certain condition, under certain conditions, so essentially, until that condition is met, he's essentially quirkless, although that condition can be anything. We classify people that seem quirkless but have a quirk as dormant quirks, of having dormant quirks. Now, these dormant quirks can be insanely powerful because they are dormant. Their bodies, think of quirks like water, and our bodies as the glass. Let's say that the water that your son's cup has is would have overflown and killed him if he activated his quirk too early. But since it hasn't triggered yet, there is little to no water in his cup. You'll just have to wait and see the quirk. It could be extremely powerful or extremely weak. But if it's weak, then my question is, what would have caused it to become dormant? I am sorry that I am just fumbling all over my words tonight. I just got done doing some work, which is an absolute pain in my absolute booty. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about what if Deku. So, basically, when, we're gonna do a time skip. It's Kirishima's first year. Bakugo and all Class 1A are in their second year, when Izuku's first year arrives. I'm gonna say, before his first year starts, let's scratch that. He and Kirishima are gonna go the same year, same class, da 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 da, because I do not feel like making a whole new cast. Anyway, when, you know, the sludge monster attacked, I'm gonna say Kirishima and Izuku were right next to each other. So Izuku pushed Kirishima out of the way, which, since it was a high stress situation, I am gonna BS the ever crap out of this. His quirk activates. Quirks activate. I should have said that. Crap. Alright. Now you guys are gonna be like, what do you mean by quirks? Well, technically, he has two quirks. Alright? It's actually one quirk, but technically it's two separate quirks that are fused. See, there was an exponential mutation where, you know how, okay, what's the best way to put this? There are some cases of children being born and they have absolutely no genetic similarities to their parents. Now, if you don't believe me, there is a prime example of this. It's just, I don't know if y'all gonna light me up in the comments for saying it, but I don't want to get this video monetized, so I'll just, you know what, screw it, never mind. There is such a thing as random mutations. Basically, Izuku's quirk is on the extreme or severe end of these random mutations. Now, his random mutation makes it to where, you know how Kerashemas' quirk can make him unbreakable? Well, Izuku's hardening ability is already on par with that. He's still gonna train the crap out of it. Don't get me wrong, he still is. But he isn't, okay, if I remember correctly, Kirishima's hardening quirk affects the outside. Well, Izuku's hardening quirk, when it activates, his body begins to look like a metallic stone. Basically, put Kirishima's hardening quirk through a bit of silver coating. Like, it's kinda shiny, but kinda not at the same time. No, never mind. You know the cracks, right? Where, you know, you can kinda tell. Okay, go look up a picture of Kirishima using Red Ride Unbreakable. There are certain, like, cracks in his armor, right? Now, those cracks seem to not be able to be punctured for some reason, but still, there are cracks. Izuku's hardening quirk is called Molten. Now, you may be wondering, okay, what does that mean? Basically, say a piece, he can trigger this hardening ability on the fly. Like, say he also has faster reaction time because of his second quirk that I'm going to tell you about in a minute. But, you know, he can actually see bullets in motion. If he sees a bullet coming towards him, it takes just half a second and then the bullet just pings off. And then, say it's like an armor-piercing round, right? And he manages to block it, but it goes through his arms and then stops. You know, the Molten, which is lava, because his blood is now made of lava, because that's how I'm gonna make it, then proceeds to regenerate that spot, making it harder. Now, the only problem with this is, say he gets his entire arm ripped off somehow, the lava will slowly flow and slowly regenerate it. if he wants it to nearly instantly regenerate, he's gonna have to turn off his quirk. The moment it goes off, it essentially, flame, it just fire. Okay, he also had, because of the magma and fire regeneration, he's also gonna have a bit of flame manipulation in there. Like, he can create his own flames, which is going to be extremely useful. And he can decide which parts of his body to harden and make not hardened. He can also, make blades out of his skin. Not by doing choppy hands, but just, he can just, manipulate the lava to create, a sword or something, alright? Now, his second quirk, technically his third quirk, is called Momentum. Now, what Momentum does is extremely broken. Extremely broken. Because you know how Momentum works. If you have gone to 5th grade, and if you've passed middle school, heck, if you've even passed elementary school, I will bet money you know what momentum is. If you don't, I'll just explain it. Momentum is essentially kinetic energy. Kinetic energy basically means that, say you kick a soccer ball. Okay, if you already know what it is, just skip ahead a few seconds. Basically, kick a soccer ball, that's kinetic energy. Anyway, the way his momentum quirk works is by essentially when he turns it on, his body's, and it's gonna be one of those quirks that he has to mentally turn it on in order for it to work. When he flips it on, his nervous system is amplified. During any pain that he intakes, while also, increases his reaction time and stuff like that. Okay? Okay. Now, momentum also allows, you know how Kirishina's got his red gun turret thing? Basically, when he activates momentum, the more he punches, the faster the punches get, and the harder it is to slow down. Basically, he becomes a living bulldozer. A living, invincible, fire-breathing bulldozer. That, might I add you, gets stronger when damaged. Like I said, armor-piercing rounds can pierce his armor. But eventually it will take a tank round to stop him. So if this was a villain what if, all the heroes would be screwed. Because I doubt they can get the Japanese military involved, and I doubt any of them, well, besides All Might, would have the power to take him on. I should do a villain what if. Ooh. Yo, I just thought of okay, I'll do that one later. I might do it tomorrow. I don't even know when Christmas break ends. I think it ends in a few days. Maybe another week. I don't know. It might end tomorrow. If it does, I will be sad. Because then I won't be able to post videos for a while. It sucks. Anyway, when Izuku Oh, and with his magma ability, he is able to heat up his outer shell. Basically, this man can heat up his outer shell enough to where if you touch it, that hand has third-degree burns now. Doesn't matter if you have a fire-based quirk that grants you heat resistance. No, it's instantly third-degree burns. Because that crap, if he really pushes it, can reach near sun-level temperatures. I might have just broken him. But it's like a last resort thing. Because it really tires him out. And it'll, melt anything near it. Because that is the freaking sun. Sun level temperatures. I might have just killed everything. He can only maintain it for about, as he is right now, he can't even activate it. He can get it to like 1,000 degrees, which isn't, okay, it may seem like much, but in the greater numbers that is the real world, that crap is total BS. Anyway, I have 2 what-if ideas that will come out if this video gets posted. Basically, one is, what if Deku was Ainzel Gone? Is it Gone or Gone? I think it's Ainzel Gone. Or what if Deku was a villain? You tell me which one you want in the comments below. Please comment. I need to know these things. Or do you want a part 4 to what if Deku had went to the Kamigaku world? If you want that one, is gonna take significantly longer because I still, I have to come up with the. I have to rewatch what's left. I have to watch the anime. Then I also have to come up with a suitable storyline to satisfy you guys. And it's just, if I don't think it's good, I don't think y'all think it's good. And if that happens, then it's just not gonna get posted. Also, I do need to make a part 2 to what if Deku had gone back in time. I already made one, but I had to take it down because it cut out the freaking audio. Because the software I use is kind of dumb. I'm gonna randomly cut out parts of the video because it's stupid. I just post these videos as is. Because I don't think they have any audio glitches. I think it's just transitioning YouTube. I don't know. Anyway, continuing with the story, the moment Izuku gets Kirishima out of the way, All Might pulls up and is like, nope, hit Detroit Smash. And, what now? Izuku asks, in his unbreakable form, and Kirishima noticed this, but didn't say anything because he thought he was seeing things, if he could be a hero without a quirk. And he said, All Might's like, so that was how you were born? And, Izuku's like, what are you talking about? Your skin looks like it's made of rocks. And he's like, so I'm, Kirishima's like, so I'm not going crazy. Wait, bro, your quirk woke up. And, Izuku starts freaking out, kind of crying a little bit, like, oh my god, he really did. Yes, I can be a hero. They start running off, and they're like, thanks, All Might. All Might's kind of butthurt because he was like, dang, didn't even ask for an autograph. Izuku turned it off by now. And when they got home, his mom, he turned on his quirk and he was like, Mom, look. Inko saw it. I was like, holy crap. Let's go get your quirk tested. They get it tested. They tell him it's a combination of 3 quirks, and they're surprised it's this strong. That such a severe genetic mutation can take place in one generation. Also, I found something crazy out literally a few days ago. Did you know horses and freaking elephants evolved from the same creature? Like, what? I didn't know that. If you didn't know that, comment down below, hashtag I didn't know that. I'm just playing, you don't have to. Anyway, also, if you're new here and you do enjoy this, comment and subscribe. Subscribe, like the video, comment down below. Anything. I'm sorry that I keep postponing it. I'm still kind of making it up. I don't use a script. I just kind of I have an idea and go with it. As in, I have no plan B in case this video goes flop. Anyway. Anyway. So, when Izuku was, kind of freaking out, he was like, okay, so how do I activate them? The doc tells him, okay, well, this is what you have to do. Although activating all 3 at the same time could be, in the moment the doctor's about to say hard, Izuku triggers all 3 at once. And he's like, why is everything so slow? And the doctor's like, what are you talking about? Izuku, in his time, gets up and walks to the other side of the room, then hits something. I'm gonna say he brings back his fist and then punches one of those force machines. You know what I mean? Like, you hit it and see how hard you hit. And then went set back down. And this all happened in a blink of an eye for them. Once the thing registered Izuku's punch, it kind of broke. It said error, error, error. Also, this deku has been working out, so he can move pretty quick. Even without his quirks active, okay? Okay. Anyway. Sorry, I'm just looking at something, don't mind me. I'm sorry, if you're new here, or you've always watched my videos. I tend to get distracted and tired very easily. I try to keep my energy up, but I tend to crash, especially when it's like midnight, which is dumb. I normally stay up till 5. What is up with my body today? I have no clue. Anyway, so it's time for the UA entrance exam. Everybody in their class is split up. No one knows that Izuku got a quirk now, and All Might's still looking for a worthy successor. Which, now Kirishima is said worthy successor. Because I'm not making it Midoriya, because he already has way too many quirks. He doesn't need another 8. Anyway. Okay, I just remembered something that made me very angry. I'd prefer if you didn't ask about it, for some reasons, because, yeah. Anyway, I'm kind of upset by something, because that's nothing, don't worry about it. Anyway, so Izuku was doing his kinda hurt thing, taking out robots. I'm gonna say he can weaken his, screw it. He's in full harden mode, and I'm gonna say he heated up his hands. So they really kind of do, look like they're on fire. Like they're hot, so it kind of looks like they're melted together. Not really melted, but you know what I mean. So when Izuku punches a robot, he goes straight through. And then he, is just destroying them. Now I'm gonna say, they threw some third years in there to be saved, and they, just because they threw in 2 super villains, because there were the robot villains, which are worth 0 through 3 points, and the hero points would not only come from saving other classmates, but saving other pros. So that's what the third years were for. The super villains were pros that were worth hundreds of points. And if you wanted to test your mettle against them, you could. And the 2 super villains were Ryuko and Mirako, because they're the only 2 with animal quirks. And Mirako is fast, Ryuko is a dragon, so she could probably survive a bit of heat. The only thing they don't have is, Mirako has essentially around the same level of fire and defense that Deku has. Mirako has the same, strength and speed. And their teamwork is impeccable. Now, I'm gonna do something that you're probably gonna be mad at me about, but Melissa is in 3A. She's a 3rd year in UA. So, oh yeah, in order to enter UA, you have to be 18, or whatever the legal age is to get into a college in Japan. I think it's like 15 to 18, I don't freaking know. I've never been to Japan, but I really kind of want to go. That'd be pretty cute. I also need to learn Japanese. Ugh. Okay, anyway. I'm tired. That's whatever. I'll pull through for you guys. I will pull an all-nighter if it's necessary. So when Izuku had walked into, the area where Mirako and the 2 hero hostages were, which were Nejire and Melissa, who has armor like Pepper Potts from Infinity War, because cool. Anyway, if you want me to, okay, I'm sorry that I keep stopping the story and then just, talking, but I'm being honest with you. Y'all do comment what what if ideas, but some of the what if ideas are a little confusing for me. It could just be because I'm a little dumb, I'm a little short in the brain, but when I have what if suggestions, y'all don't be like, oh, that's a really good one, maybe you should do that. So I'm kind of thinking like y'all think most of my ideas are bad. That's whatever. Anyway. Like I said in the beginning, near the beginning, if you want what if Deku was, Einzelgone, tell me. If you want what if Deku was a villain, or what if Deku was framed or something, tell me, please. Come on, you guys. You aren't telling me much. Anyway, so when Izuku was, running in, I'm gonna say he activated adrenaline. No, what is it called? I already forgot what one it's called. Momentum. Yep. I'm gonna say he turned it on, turned around and started running the other way, which allowed him to build up momentum. And I'm gonna say, he used his fire to turn himself, and then, he used fire to boost his speed, which, made it even easier for him to use momentum. And with it, with every step, it was causing fire. Just, And when he got to the two girls, he grabbed them, ran straight up the side of a skyscraper, and then he turned off his quirk, which instantly slowed him down, which I know is impossible, but I'm making it possible, because he dug his heels in and activated Unbreakable. And then, Izuku afterward had become very he had put them down, and they were like, I'm gonna say Zuko was wearing a hood with nah, he was just wearing a hood. He turned around to jump back down, and they were like, wait, who are you? And then, he turns slightly, he chuckles and says, green monster. No. I don't know. I'd prefer if he says he's Izuku, Doria. And they're like, nice to meet you. And he's like, same. You two seem nice. How about after this we go get something to eat? I'm hungry. Anyway, but first, he cracks his knuckles, which sound like boulders shattering, which is so loud. You have no idea how loud that is. He cracks all his knuckles, and then I'm gonna say, he started hardening all of his body, which could be seen from, the outside of his clothing. And I'm gonna say when he used fire to launch himself up, he turned himself into a boulder, and I'm gonna say, he put it to where his feet are facing the sky, and then he just he turned himself into essentially a missile, and blasted himself towards the quote-unquote villains, and then once he hit the ground, he tried to hit Mirko, but she dodged. You know, and then he stopped, looked at him and said, alright, let's have some fun then. You know, we got into a battle position, which I'm gonna say kind of looks like an animal, because, reasons. You know what, screw it. The fourth quirk woke up, okay? Just cut me some slack here. I want him to be cool. You know? So, when he got into this, battle position, he looked like a wolf. You know, getting like an alpha male wolf who is top of the chain, getting ready to rip something apart. Ryuku went into her dragon form, you know, and Mirko tried to attack him. He dodged in a really weird way, like he ducked under and then elbowed her in the side, which sent her flying, you know. Then he got into a different position, like a, I guess you could say, a dire bear? If you know what that is, it's basically the predecessor to a bear, because it's more deadly, and because reasons, you know. And when Ryuku tried to breathe fire on him, you know, he tilted his head back, and, you know, you could see the heat, you know, going that, you know, started forming in his chest, going up and into his throat. You could see it through his clothes. That's how bright the color is, you know. Also, he has fireproof clothes. Alright, he does have fireproof clothes, because I don't want him to burn his clothes off. And rip-proof. And rip-proof? Fire and rip-proof. So, they won't rip and they won't catch on fire. So, he's good to use full power. You know, he tilts his head back, and he does like a Godzilla blast. Alright? No cap, he just turns hydrogen. He just ignites all the hydrogen in front of him and turns it into a freaking laser beam. Aimed straight at Ryuku. Ryuku can't, you know, her fire isn't as concentrated. So her fire is getting overwhelmed, and she doesn't want her entire body to blow up because, you know, she's using hydrogen to blast her fire forward. And if you don't know, hydrogen, I think I'm pretty sure it's hydrogen. It could go by another name. It's like super freaking explosive. Under the right conditions, you could probably level a city. I mean, that's probably what America did to Japan twice. I'm sorry. I really am. Anyway, I hope I offended no one, but, you know, past times. Nothing we can do about it. Now, I mean, it's not like it was our fault. And when I say our fault, I mean, like, our current generation. That was like past people, alright? I mean, you know what? I'm just gonna stop before I get banned. Anyway, I'm gonna say Izuku, you know, then he noticed Mirko and realized, you know, it's getting, you know, it's kind of hard to move when he's doing this, because if he changes trajectory just a little bit, he could probably blast off one of her wings, and he wouldn't want that, because then he would have to heal her, which he can do using fire, and she's, well, not exactly fireproof, which could hurt her. I mean, reburning pathways into your body, you know, it probably would hurt quite a bit, you know. So Izuku closed his mouth, you know, and then you could see the fire that was originally going everywhere start not really swelling up, but, you know, going upward and outward from Izuku's chest. They didn't notice it until it started reaching his hands, because when he went to go punch Ryuku, basically you know how Endeavor has that fire punch thing he does? Yeah, that's kind of what happened. He was blasting back. He hit the ground, and the ground started to melt. He's like, alright, he's saying in his head, alright, I'm reaching critical. Time to turn up the heat. And by this time, I'm gonna say, once he hit the ground, his hoodie came off, and they could see his face, which looked like it was made out of stone. But it was, they could see some of the cracks that avoided his eyes, and they started to notice his green hair started turning orange and started floating. No, he's not turning into a Super Saiyan. They also noticed he has ears on his head. Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. He's not gonna be a wolf. I know, I'm sorry. This isn't a werewolf one. I'm sorry. I'll make that later, maybe. Probably not. Anyway. They don't see anything. They don't see, wolf ears. They just see, his hair rising and slowly turning orange. They're like, what's going on? What is this kid doing? While they're trying to figure that out, all of his hair finally reaches the top of his head, and he's like, momentum, And then, the moment, by this point, stuff is starting to melt, right? So I'm gonna say, he slams his right foot behind him into the ground and launches himself forward to Ryuku. And then all of the heat that was going through his body, went straight into his right leg, which then, he smashed it straight into Ryuku's face. Also, Ryuku and Mirko had just graduated hero school, but they had gotten a bit of experience. The moment it hit Ryuku's face, the entire leg just exploded. When Ryuku tried to grab him, he grabbed her face and then threw her downward. And then, with his left leg, he bounced backward. And then all of, his leg particles that were made of stone started floating back the moment, he hit the ground. And then once it was all back, his legs started releasing all the heat back into the body. No, not all of the heat went to the right leg, just a lot of it to where the entire leg was orange. Once it exploded, most of the fire got sucked back up, and the rocks started to pull themselves together. He's basically like the Thing in that sense, to where, he may look like he's made of pebbles, but they're really hard to destroy, and they can pull themselves back together. And then I'm gonna say they're like, so he has a regeneration ability. And then he's trying to plan out his next move, because he knows Mirko is faster than him and can hit just as hard. And Ryuku has a good defense, can breathe fire, and also is also really strong, but she's really slow. They have really good teamwork. Then Izuku realizes something. He's like, wait, she breathes fire. Now that's an idea. So, he gets into a running position, and, he starts running straight towards Mirko, and when he brings back his hand, he grabs her face and then pushes her back, because he wanted Ryuku to think that he was going to hit her in order for her to breathe fire on him. Now, there's a good reason. The moment it hits Izuku, before it hits, he turns and opens his hand. Now, all the rocks that were, his boulder arm, his rock arm, they began, the forearm, then all the rocks in the forearm began, outstretching to the hand and turning into like a funnel-like thing that was spinning. Now, this started sucking up all of the fire. She didn't realize what was going on until a little bit later, when Mirko said, after getting up again, that he's absorbing her fire, and it's making him glow a little more. Then she stopped, and then she noticed the arm, and then it, started sliding back into place. Izuku then, he began moving his arms in like a rolling position, which started to get them moving really quick. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna do Mirako a little bit dirty here. Mirako tried to stop Midoriya, but she got overheated because the heat was becoming too intense. I'm surprised she lasted this long, honestly, is what Izuku thought as she saw Mirako collapse, because it was getting really hot. I don't want to say only the air was getting really hot, the ground itself was pretty much coming close to melting. As Izuku started okay, it did melt, the ground did melt, but the air, she was far enough away from Izuku to where, the oxygen wasn't burning, because that's a thing that can happen. But she was getting way too warm because of Izuku and him releasing so much heat. He ran towards Ryuko. Also, Kirishima knows his brother is stronger than him, and he's okay with that, because Kirishima is an absolute bro. Anyway, so he started punching Ryuko. She was blocking pretty well until it started getting faster, and he was hitting harder. And then he started releasing, how, jets do. He started, opening up the back of his elbows, turning them into jets to make him punch faster and harder. Then he started using, certain parts of his body to make his hands into, I guess you could say, jackhammer? He made them into, actual rocks. Whole boulder, pretty much, like a head-sized boulder on his hands, and it kind of it was like a teardrop shape, so where, it looks like it's, it looks attached. And then he starts wailing on her, the punches are getting heavier, the blows are getting heavier and coming more quickly. She says, I surrender, she screams, I surrender. Izuku immediately turns off adrenaline, and then kind of makes the rocks go back into their place. And then he blasts a little bit of fire that's kind of cold, but it still had enough force to slow down his punch before it hit. And then he backed up, looked straight up, and then opened his mouth, and all the heat started releasing. And you could tell he was getting hurt by it because his skin was kind of red while he was detransforming. And he's like, he's coughing and taking really deep breaths. Ryuko's like, whoa, kid, are you okay? He's like, no, not. Okay. And she's like, what's going on? Air and lungs got too heated. He may be invincible on the outside, but on the inside, he can only become, so invincible. He can become hard enough to where he can contain, to where it doesn't burn his lungs, but after a little while, it does start to wear on him. That's his limitation for his fire ability. For his other ability, for his rock ability, its limitation is that he can keep it up, but it takes, I'm not gonna say that it takes long to get rid of. It's just that it kinda, how do I put this? while he has it up, it starts to build up a little bit of heat. He's learned how to deal with an absolute insane amount of heat, but you can only take so much before you start to overheat. Sorry. I was getting some stuff from somewhere. And she's like, do you need help? And he's like, no, I'll be okay. Just give me a minute. Then he collapses because, that was a lot of heat he built up. I must say, if he would have opened his mouth and, started directing the heat anywhere, it could have melted straight through almost. He could have blasted a pretty decent-sized hole into a multi-story building. Like, if it's like 50 stories and he's in the basement and looked straight up and did it, it would go through all of them. That's how much heat he had built up. And like I said, he was absorbing heat from Ryuku. That just wasn't all from, his quirk. He can only generate so much heat so quickly. Anyway, continuing forward. Oh wait, what time? What time is it? How long is this? 51 minutes. You know what? I'm gonna cut it here. And if you want a part 2, tell me. If you want me to do what if Deku was a reincarnation of Ainzul Gon, or what if Deku was a villain, and just tell me in the comments below. Anyways, like, subscribe, and comment, and that's gonna be all for this time, my lovely subjects. Goodbye.